All right, welcome back, folks. So I picked up a PS Portal about a week ago now, and I have been using the device pretty much every evening in the last week or so. And I want to kind of speak on my personal experience as to why I got this device or took a chance on it, and how I feel about it a week later. What I do first is I'm just going to connect to my PS5 Pro, which I have on. And I've already established a pairing session, or I've paired my PS5 Pro essentially to the device. And you're going to see pretty much the front end that you would see when you're actually logging in. So I'm just going to put my password in. And what you're going to see here is you're going to see the front end of the PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro. Same UI essentially. And you can see there at the top right on the screen it said HAPES is now connected via remote play. So maybe just to get back to the point I wanted to make first, why did I get this device? So this device probably been out about 2 years now, maybe a little bit less. And I wasn't really attracted to the idea first when it came out. I said I was gonna let it, I suppose, cook for a while. I know Sony released a ton of updates since, and they've also introduced the cloud-based functionality as well. Now, I'm not going to talk about the cloud-based functionality today. I want to talk about how I use it in the home and the reason why I'm using it in my home. I suppose this is very much a life choice, I find, with a device like this. It's convenience. It's convenience for me for a couple of reasons. I have 2 small kids, and sometimes I just kind of want to be in the same room as my wife. She wants to play something on the big TV, or she wants to watch something on Sky, and I want access to my Sony library. Now, I have a Steam Deck and I have it in the Nintendo Switch 2, and that gives me access to those libraries, but I suppose I don't have access to my PlayStation library directly, and this gives me that ability. And I wanted to try and get a device that could do that, so I could step out of my main room and actually maybe play my games from the console, I suppose, from this device. And as I said, I wanted to let this cook, let a ton of updates come out, and they have. And I suppose my experience, first and foremost, is I'm pleasantly surprised with some caveats. First of all, let's talk about the form factor first. This device is really comfortable to use, and actually comfortable to use in long play sessions. Now, it's easy to say that a handheld device is comfortable to use, but then 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, you start getting aches in your hands because of the form factor. It's designed really, really well, and actually the screen is impressive in its size as well, and its weight. It's actually lighter than I expected, given its size, but really, it's married up to the PlayStation 5 controller, even with the triggers, the vibration functionality that you get with the standard PlayStation 5 controller off the PS5 or the PS5 Pro, which is really, really cool. So you're getting all the haptic feedback, you're getting all that good stuff as well. Same functionality in regards to microphone. And then at the top of the screen, there's the volume buttons, the power buttons, the sync buttons for your Bluetooth, and all the good stuff there that typically you'll get anywhere on the front end of your standard controller, which is perfect. So really, if you're doing a one-to-one comparison between the controller, it's essentially a controller with a screen slapped into the middle of it. But that's perfectly fine. So it marries up to the fact is, well, if I'm not playing my PlayStation 5 with a regular controller, it feels pretty much identical. The next thing I want to kind of talk about is performance. It's the OS in itself. You can access the PS5 control center itself, but there is also a kind of a settings menu within the device itself. Now, it's actually a little bit bog standard to an effect. There's a couple of things you can do. You can define your network, you can set up your connectivity. I suppose the biggest issue I have with the device right now is its inability to distinguish between 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. So essentially, this device connects by Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi only. And if you have 2 bands of Wi-Fi enabled on your router, so for argument's sake, I need to have both. Practicality is not all devices can support 5 gigahertz, so I need to have 2.5 and I need to have 5 gigahertz enabled on my main router. The problem with this is it distinguishes between its wireless range is the only thing that seems to matter with this. So if you have, let's say, an extender at the far side of your house and it only functionally works as 2.4 gigahertz and not 5 gigahertz, and if your device is closer to the 2.5 gigahertz extender, it'll actually pick up that wireless instead of your 5 gigahertz. You're better off playing anything with solely a 5 gigahertz range on this device, okay? Because the performance ultimately was way better for me. So I did have to make some adjustments in my home network to ensure that when I'm using this device, it falls inside the range of the 5 gigahertz and not the 2.4 gigahertz. So it's not to say you can't use it within 2.4 gigahertz range. It's just that I was maybe establishing a resolution of about 720p, when in reality this device can do up to a maximum of 1080p. Now there's a bog standard troubleshooting function in this, and if you go into said menu, as I mentioned, you can show network status, and it'll give you a rough idea of the performance. Now I'm trying to zoom up there a little bit. But it gives you, I suppose, downstream, upstream, your current resolution, the signal strength, and you can see there I'm well within the range of 5 gigahertz. Now when I'm playing games, this will probably go up to 1080p, and that'll be fine. But as I said, it's just something to note. You do need to have a strong network configuration in your home, and then preference there really is that you're connecting it via 5 gigahertz and not 2.4. Again, very, very clear here. It's not to say you can't use this device well with 2.4. It just works better with the other method. So just please keep that in mind. I've tried all types of games. I'm actually picking Serious Sam 4 here on this, and this is probably considered a high octane game. But again, this is very much a situational device. It all depends on your situation at home. Are you on your own? Are you living on your own? Probably not the device that you really need. It just works for me because of my own situation at home. You know, if I want to sit down, relax with my family, and they're doing something and they're busy, I can pick this up, play some games, and drop it down when I need to attend to the kids or do whatever we need to do. It's that type of a device, and again, getting live access to my I suppose my library, my full entire library, is I suppose one of the biggest benefits for me. Again, I think I paid about 210, 220 euros max for this. You can get these second hand as well, so you could pinch some money there. Again, bear in mind Black Friday is coming up. There may be some sales coming on. Could get it at a dropped price, but again, very much a situational device. I'm not the one to try and push devices or be biased towards any particular company, but I really enjoyed using it this week. In the manner of which and the way I used it, again with the thought process behind to use Wi-Fi and stuff, making sure my Wi-Fi range was within the 5 gigahertz band. Those couple of things I did have to tweak, but once I got that kind of settled in, maybe just to be clear as well, my kind of situation here as well is that I have my router in one room, and then my front living room is in a different room completely. So I was trying to cater for that, essentially. So anyway, I'm just going to do a little bit of gameplay here of CS Sam, just to show you some of the performance, and if you notice any lag or otherwise. But it was a pretty seamless. The couple of games I tested were Resident Evil 4 remake. I was playing some of Serious Sam 4. I was playing some Resident Evil 1 remake, so the GameCube kind of HD remaster. This game is so much fun, by the way. It was actually on sale recently on the store. I think it was about €4 or something. These guys fucking shouting at me. Again, I'm stressed that this is a perfect game to try and stress test such a device. You could be playing something like, as I said, a slower pace type of game, like Resident Evil 1, as I mentioned, which really wouldn't be a device which would stress it too much. Let's give this guy a double barrel shotgun. The fucking guys screaming are so annoying. They're kind of a classic enemy anyway in Serious Sam. Maybe I'll just try and adjust the brightness. So there is a brightness toggle here as well in this device. I'm going to turn it down somewhat. Yeah, I could have had it way too high for folks, so apologies there. Maybe there. Yeah, that actually looks better. So I'm looking at off screen as well here, just for folks to see. So you can see it's actually currently running at 1080p in that 5 gigahertz range. What I found about Serious Sam though as well is that it's actually a performance hog even on the PS5 Pro. So if you're getting hitching in the game, it's not always necessarily the network, but it's actually the performance of the game running on the PS5 Pro, funnily enough. That's a quick look at the device. And I hope maybe this has given some folks some guidance onto what type of performance you could get out of this, and from a practical point of view, if it's worth your time to pick up something like this. Again, maybe my overall consensus here is make sure your network is configured the right way within your home. It's very much a situational thing. If you're in a scenario where you don't have access to your primary game room or whatever it may be, that you do want access to that library, and this gives you a good option. Again, I haven't tested anything from a cloud-based perspective. That's a brand new feature as well, so I might actually try and cover that. I don't actually have cloud access at the moment. I'm not paying for that subscription, so I can't really test it at this moment in time. But I'll try and do that in the future once I get an extra couple of pounds together, because I did spend money on this thing, remember. Anyway, if this has helped folks, maybe have a think. Drop me an owl message down in the comments. If you're new to the channel and this has actually helped you in some way, please consider supporting my work by liking and subscribing. I will see you in the next video, folks. Thanks for watching.